경기장 도시형.
All right, guys, here we go on Shattered Temple, and up in the top part of the map in the 12 o'clock position is our teal Terran player saying good luck, have fun. It is Acer.DarkHydra. And down at the bottom in the 6 o'clock position is once again our pink Zerg player from the team Alternate Attack. It is Delphi.
And thank you to my friend Twilly there, who has confirmed that my Twitter be workin' foo, as he says. So
right
there we
on.
go.
Well, DarkHydra, interestingly enough, playing the Terran race, but that's not all that surprising, really. We've got Machine for EG. He's called Machine because he used to play Mech a lot in Brood War as Terran. We've got Lazy Gamer out there as well, or LZ Gamer, which which isn't Lazy Gamer, actually. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
LZ Gamer, actually short for Lord Zerg, because he used to play Zerg. So there's a lot of players out there with like race names that don't fit the race they actually play. And I wonder if there's some sort of story like that behind DarkHydra as well.
It looks like that this game was played just as the SEI 4 was being run, the finals.
Oh, the Shellcraft, yeah.
Yes, between Thorzane and Stefano, which
Focus,
sorry
guys,
if you guys
come
haven't
on.
heard that, but it was actually 4-0 for Stefano. Congratulations on him and winning that. Also, big shout out to Total Biscuit and Diapollo for running that tournament.
Yeah, really well done.
Such a great job. They had like 48,000 viewers at one point as well. So
always have a lot
very
of fun
fun
watching those, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Stefano is going to be at our show match at South by Southwest as well. He's going to be duking it out with none other than Whiterun, a best of 9. That is going to be awesome. Can't wait to see those guys again in person. They're both awesome people to sit down and have some dinner with. So it's going to be cool to see them play some games as well.
All right, so I hope you guys, if you guys are going to find yourselves down in the South by Southwest area in the middle of March, please do drop on by. We're going to be live at Austin, Texas. We're not only going to have that, but we're going to have a League of Legends competition as well. So they've already done a similar poll for that as well, which, gotta say, guys, it got like 12,000 more votes than the StarCraft one does. I'm disappointed. If we do that again, guys, you got to step up your game.
They will. I'm not worried at all. So there's a drone being kind of a jerk, harassing that SCV, just trying to go about his business and build buildings. Why can't
you
just
and
leave
your
people
worker
alone?
hate?
You know, SCVs, they just want to build things. And
Yes.
other workers decide that it's their job in life to make the SCV's life miserable. It's tough, man.
Yeah, you know what also SEVs do? Prove to be not all that cost inefficient against Zerglings. So I'm sure Zerg players have a great hatred of the drill as well.
They also build bunkers, I suppose. That's something that Zerg players tend to hate.
What? They don't like 1111 racks? Am I
guess not. It looks like it's not going to be that, though, for DarkHydra this time. You know, we see the gas steel, but we also see that it's going to be Reactor Hellions from our Terran player. Oh, he does get the Zergling. Yeah, if you have 2 Marines there, usually you're able to pick off the Zergling before it can remake that extractor.
Okay, so here we are now. It's pretty standard fare from both our players at the moment. We do have 2 Queens being produced for Delphi. We also have Zerglings being going to be started relatively soon, and it's a Reactor Hellion expand for our Terran player. This is as standard as TVZs can start.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, Shattered Temple is about as standard as a map as you can have as well. You know, it's got that big open middle ground, which can be really kind of challenging for Terran to get across at certain points just because it's really easy for Zergs to set up flanks. Oh, look at that. It's a Roach Warren going up very quickly for Delphi. Interesting. Okay, so maybe a little bit of Roach aggression planned by our Zerg player. We'll have to see. You know, usually you do see a Roach Warren fairly consistently in this matchup, kind of defensively against the Hellions, but that's a little bit earlier than I see a lot of times.
And, yeah, I mean, he could be doing... I remember when Sheth, when he was first going through his Fight Club matches and he was coming up against Terran players, specifically Ryung. I mean, I remember when he played Ryung. And he just ended up doing very quick Roachling attacks.
It can be pretty good against a player that Hellion expands, yeah.
Yeah, surprisingly, Ryung just fell to it a lot of times in a row, and Sheth was able to pull it off very well. But here we go, 7 Roaches being produced. Another Barracks being added for DarkHydra right now. We'll see if he gets up to production to be able to counter that huge amount of Roaches coming his way soon.
Yeah, we'll see. This is going to be a bit dangerous for DarkHydra to hold off here. He's going to have to run away with those Hellions. Like you said, adding on some more Barracks. He's adding on some Marauders now, and that's probably the best thing he can really do at this point, is throw down some bunkers and some Marauders. He needs to put down a bunker, though, and he's not doing it. Okay, there's the bunker, but that's going to be a little bit late. I'm a little bit worried about our Terran player here at the moment.
All right, well, let's see. We do have one Marauder being produced. This bunker is going to finish in 25 seconds, but the Roaches are going to be there momentarily. Now we finally have Lynx following this up. He actually produced a couple of drones in there as well, but now it looks like he is going to go ahead and press on with this very, very strong attack, making his way up right now. Needs to be able to kill those SCVs.
Bunker finishes just in time, and that is going to be the end of that. A Marauder in a bunker is pretty good against Roaches. Yeah, and Delphi's actually going to pull right back after taking out that supply depot. So at least he does supply block his Terran opponent for a little bit here, but not doing a whole ton of damage overall. The biggest damage comes in the form of our Terran player not being able to expand as early as he wants to.
And being able to drop down that contain for a little while, that's going to be very, very useful. This command center turning into an orbital command at the moment. It looks like Delphi going to go right after third set of third base, go after the set of destructible rocks.
I like it. Being aggressive on the expand there.
Up by 20 supply at the moment as well.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, when a Terran kind of gets holed up like this in his base, it becomes very, very tough to kind of keep up with the macro of a Zerg player.
Sure.
Going for tanks as well, so he wants to move into Marine tank from here, but it's just really difficult to do that efficiently on one base.
Yes.
The nice thing, though, with the second command center is that he can continue to produce SCVs so that when he does feel safe to move out, he's going to be able to populate that expansion right away. So.
And once he gets a couple of tanks, this isn't going to be too big of a problem, especially with the 3 Marauders back there. Just a couple of tanks on the low ground. The Roaches will disappear, but in that time, how much farther ahead is Delphi going to get? He's already positioned this drone to get ready for another expansion here.
Yep. And, he's also going to need to worry if he does lose these Roaches about a bit of a counterattack from our Terran player. And, yeah, he's got to be really careful here.
And it looks like the Zerglings are going to run in from behind
the tank.
Oh, he should focus it, actually, but nope. Looks like he is going to kill most of the Roaches here. Every time we say nope, this thing Chuck Testa. And
is that Zergling alive?
Nope.
Nope.
Chuck Testa.
Yep.
Anyway, so let's see here. Evolution Chamber and Layer coming up. Hasn't actually gone after that gold expansion quite yet. Should happen soon, though. Possibly, maybe. I promise it will.
Yeah, he's kind of waiting on the minerals a little bit, I think, because he's like, well, am I going to have to use those minerals for units to hold off some sort of counterattack? So he's kind of waiting to see what happens here. You saw he just kind of pulled a gold mineral and then pulled his drone back. Yeah, and it's a good thing he didn't make that hatchery, too, because he will indeed need those minerals, because here comes a pretty strong push from DarkHydra right now.
Okay, so here it comes. It looks like there's a few Zerglings out there, but that's just going to run into a big trap. That's a trap!
Whoa, yep. Delphi putting down his Spire as well. So this ends up kind of working out like that timing that you see Terrans do quite a bit, where it hits right as the Spire starts.
Sure.
Right when Zerg kind of has their least amount of units at this point in the game. And we'll see what happens here. Does DarkHydra have enough units to do some damage? He does have siege mode as well.
Yeah, but he's going to get attacked from 3 sides. Very nice job, especially because this siege tank went after the other siege tank basically right away. Now they're both down. Zerglings are flooding in, and we have Roaches at the bottom. This turned into a disaster for DarkHydra.
Yeah, it looked like he had that good positioning there, but a good flank from Delphi ended that aggression really fast. Looks like he's going to push across the map, see if he can do some damage as well. But either way, with the Spire coming up, our Zerg player is in a really good spot.
Yes, he is. And there is a siege tank on the high ground. Swaths of Zerglings will die. Swaths, if Delphi is not careful. But, all right, we do have 2 more barracks being added now. So Marine tank and medevac is going to be the order of the day. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but of course he is being thrown on 2 bases for a very long period of time, and it looks like Delphi's going to go right through these destructible rocks.
Yep, good foresight by our Zerg player to take that down ahead of time, just in case, when the expansion comes up, he'll have a nice little counterattack path. It's the same thing that you see Zergs do a lot on Antigua Shipyard, take down the rocks so they can get in at the third a little bit easier.
Sure.
And, he's not in a position where he can really attack his opponent, so might as well make those units good for something, right?
Yeah, definitely. And we do have that third base finally coming up for Delphi now back on his base.
Yep.
Let's see here. First set of destructible rocks going down. He'll move over to the second set here in just a second. And that could get a read on this medevac that's actually coming out.
Is he going to see the Zerglings breaking down the rocks? And the Zerglings don't see the medevac either, a little bit more importantly maybe.
Yeah, and he actually doesn't see the destructible rocks going down. Here's our first pack of
Nobody
mutas,
sees anything.
No. This missile turret's got a while before it comes up. There's a possibility these mutas will get in here and actually stop the construction of all of these turrets.
Yeah, I got to say, good timing with the mutas there, and he's just going to go ahead and take out the turret. That's a good decision since that turret was really close to being done. He's in a great position to do some harassment, taking out a supply depot.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
A good little win there as he continues to go through these destructible rocks up at the front, but here comes a drop, though, for our Terran player.
Yep, that's right. And the Marines unloading right now. Delphi needs to pull those drones away. There he goes. He does lose one drone, and he should be able to kind of respond quick enough. We'll see. Oh, no, he's going to lose a queen, too. I always cringe a little bit when those players lose queens. Oh, don't send your mutas in.
Oh, no.
That is bad.
Wow, actually, this drop proving to be a lot more effective than I had initially thought it was going to be. But we do have Zerglings actually running into the natural as well. Very nice job, especially because the Siege Tanks are firing on their own units. He's got to turn them off. Oh, if he can get next to that clump.
Oh, man. Those SCVs took some decent damage from all the siege tank shots. And the Zerglings as well, so damage traded on both sides. But if you look at the supply right now, and if you look at the harassment right now, obviously things are really in favor of our Zerg player.
Definitely. I mean, especially with his gold base now, his minerals are rocketing up at the moment.
65 to 38 harvesters, too. That's pretty good.
Especially because he just lost, how many? Yeah, he's lost 14 workers this entire game, but yet that hasn't deterred him at all. He's been producing like a madman.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, DarkHydra's kind of had circles flown around him, most literally and figuratively, by a Zerg opponent. He's going to really need to do some sort of good timing to get back in this game. He's going to try this push here, but with Banelings on the way, Baneling speed, and he's turning around now, going after the mutas again. I don't know, this kind of seems like a little bit of a desperation move from our Terran player here. I don't know how well it's going to really work out.
And it looks like a bunch of Marines are left back at home as well, so this army has been almost voluntarily kind of cut in half now. We have a bunch more Banelings popping up for Delphi. It looks like he is going to surround with the mutas here in just a second.
Yeah.
Good positioning from DarkHydra because he knows that that was going to be a possibility. He doesn't actually kill any mutas, though, just injures a few.
Yeah, Baneling speed about to finish for our Zerg player. He's got decent upgrades, just kind of sending a few Zerglings in here and there to kind of test the tank range. He's got to be careful with those Hydras, though.
Yeah, definitely. We're just waiting on these next 16 Banelings to finish up, and then all those units are going to roll in here at the same time. It will happen soon, I promise
Overlord, or float fast. Oh, he got away.
Oh, yeah, he did. Good on him.
That's my Overlord attempt.
Well done. Much better than my Swedish chef impression.
Oh, that's true.
All right. Well, here comes the attack now. Banelings rolling their way up. They're not actually targeted down. Finally, a lot of damage done, but they're still just continuing to roll after Marines. The tanks do get dropped by themselves, though.
Yep, even the Queen getting in on the action. She was having kind of a boring day at the hatchery, decided to come out and fight. And, yeah, that army taken down very, very quickly. Another drop coming in for DarkHydra. Could do some damage, but, you know, again, we'll have to see. Looks like he's going to lose the Queen again. Nope, pulling her back just in time.
Right.
Yep.
And it looks like these Zerglings, though, are trapped in a tiny little choke point.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, finally. So.
Yep. And Hydra's coming in as well, so this drop is going to be cleaned up.
Yep.
And, you know, with all this going on, our Terran players just getting even farther behind.
Yeah.
Things not going terribly well right now for DarkHydra. He's going to try to take a third, but he's just, you know, it's one of those awful feelings for Terran. I know how he feels, where he's like, oh, I've lost my army again. I hardly have any defense at home. I know they have tons of mutas out there. I know I have to expand, but I don't know how I'm going to defend it. This is just a terrible position to be in as a Terran player.
All right, so a few Mutalisks are continuing to be thrown in as well. He's going to be up to 20 here in just a second. And, yeah, that harassment you were talking about, I just don't see any way to safely establish, excuse me, to actually safely establish this third.
Yep. Chill out.
It was funny because I talked to Chill about that shortly after that event happened. I was like, how tired are you already of people saying that to you? And he's like, at least I made some unfunny people think they were funny for a while.
That's true. Yeah, it does help.
Yes. Okay, 19 mutas now. There are 20 on the ground, so there's one somewhere floating by himself, Lone Wolf style.
Lone Wolf.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's a big group of mutas, and there's a Nidus Worm going up as well, so I think Delphi's at the stage in the game where he can kind of just kick back and relax a little bit and have some fun. So he's going to try to Nidus into one of his opponent's 2 bases.
And he does still have that Overlord hanging out, so should be able to pull that off pretty successfully. It looks like DarkHydra's going to try and go after this third, but then, of course, that is completely exposed now on that back attack path. Back attack path, that sounds kind of cool.
Back attack path.
Back attack path. as Delphi moves up to 5 bases. But yeah, that natural is really, really exposed now.
Well, the nice thing about doing something like Nidus play at this point is that it's yet another thing to keep your opponent in his base and let you expand as much as you want. Wow, he's just going to Nidus in plain sight. Multiple Niduses going up, apparently. Just kind of saying, hey, you know, I mean, what can you do about this really big stim from DarkHydra there? And yeah, the Marines are just going to run for it. Obviously, these Niduses aren't really going to do too much. Well, actually, a lot of Lings getting out here.
Good.
It's so many Mutalisks. They have the Carapace upgrades as well. I don't think our Terran player can really hold this off.
Well, he does have enough Marines here that it looks like he's starting to stem the tide of Zerglings as they pop out. And that's when it's going to become bad for Delphi. He has to watch, especially with the Thor there now. Had some grouped up mutas and did end up losing a little bit of supply.
Tank, what are you doing? Why are you there?
I think you're absolutely right, though. He's, you know, having a little bit of fun. He's making sure that he doesn't overextend himself and attack into bad, really, really defensive positions for our Terran player.
Now, does Delphi know that the gold base is up? I think if he did, he wouldn't be doing this kind of thing. He'd be worrying about that. Yeah, he doesn't know about it. Okay, so that could be something that could work to DarkHydra's favor.
Sure.
That gold base is one of those things that can kind of get you back in the game if you're in a situation like this. And the fact that Delphi doesn't know about it could come back to haunt him. We'll have to see.
All right. Well, there's a big group of Marines, and that's a big fungal growth thrown down on top of that by Marines.
And he does lose one Infestor, but that Infestor was worth its weight in gold minerals.
Yes, and we do have 2 Infested Terrans now. Showdown!
Mortal Kombat. Oh, the Infested Terran won. Never mind. Okay.
A lot faster than I anticipated. Mortal Kombat. Okay, it's done.
Fatality. That was just silly when they started adding those in.
All right, Planetary Fortress at the gold, though.
Get over here.
Okay, what's the economic rate? Sorry, back on track. Got it. Done. Is we do have a better mining rate for our Zerg player, but just slightly, but that's because of the mules that are on the ground at this time. However, he is maxed and moving up to adrenal glands, higher upgrades. He is looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, he's got to be a little bit careful here. I mean, Delphi really should be careful that if he's going to attack like this, he needs to trade efficiently. Nice flank coming in from both sides. This is how you trade efficiently. That works. Actually, this may be how you end the game, in fact.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, DarkHydra's in big trouble here. There are some turrets there, but not enough to handle the Mutalisks.
Nope. And looks like this Planetary Fortress is going to die here momentarily. A few Infested Terrans and Infestors. Watch out, Infestor! No!
SCV is trying to poke a hole in those Infestors. I bet if you do, they'll just like explode.
Really, I just see them standing underneath the mutas and shouting upwards with their drill.
Their drills will pierce the heavens. Yep.
All right, here comes another huge group of Zerglings behind this as well. And
he can just kind of hammer at his opponent until he's dead at this point. This is kind of a brute force method, but it is effective in situations where you're this far ahead.
Yeah, certainly.
I think we're going to see a GG very, very soon from our Terran player. There's not a lot that DarkHydra can do at this point. I think Delphi's going to bring the score to 3-1 in favor of alternate attack. Really well played by our Zerg player.
Definitely, and a very, very nice game. So let's see here. He's finishing up Greater Spire as well. He's got a lot of Corruptors on the way, so he'll be able to move over to Broodlords here in just a second on that very nice economy. Almost 80 drones, but sitting on just a ton of bases at the moment.
Yep, pretty much. And yeah, it's the Nidus network that kind of brings back some fond memories of earlier in this game when there were Nidus worms coming up. Remember way back when?
Way back when. Ah, yes.
Back in the golden years of this game.
Those were the days.
Just don't make buildings like they used to at the 25-minute mark, do they?
No, they don't. Yep. No, they don't. The SCVs still have comically sized pockets, though, as you like to pop out.
That's true.
To mention. But anyway, okay, Ghost Academy is up. Not a lot of mining left over. Of course, it's great when you can drop down a bunch of mules on the gold here, but that also mines that out exceptionally quick when you're grabbing 40 minerals every time you run away.
I don't think the gold base is going to save him now.
Nope.
Yep. It's gonna
Only
be
a miracle could save him now.
110 supply ahead.
Anyway,
yeah.
Obscure Mel Brooks reference. I'm done.
I'm sorry, I missed that one.
By the way, you need to watch more History of the World Part 1.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that thing.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, sure, right.
Yeah, it was reminding me of the comedian we saw over the weekend. Someone was like, oh, yeah, I'm from Marin County. He was like, oh, yeah, it's up there with that thing. It's pretty hysterical, actually. I'm going to start using that. Okay, here we go now. Delphi has a flock of Broodlords. And he's going to push his way up here in a bit.
What exactly keeps the Broodlings afloat when they're near the Broodlords that doesn't make them just take off and fly away when you kill a building?
Sheer manly determination? I'm actually not sure.
I don't know.
That's my best guess. A beard?
Well, DarkHydra has a sensor tower up, so at least he's going to see his death coming from a long ways away. That's kind of handy, I suppose.
Yep.
But yeah, that, I hate to say it, there's just not a lot you can do, from the Terran perspective here to hold this off. No Vikings, no ghosts out or anything like that.
Yep. This planetary fortress is going to get a bunch of kills, though. That's going to be kind of cute.
Yep.
It's all going to be broodlings, of course, as these SCVs pass into the night once a couple of infestors make their way up there as well. But it is 92 supply now to 200. Planetary fortress now with 47 kills and climbing.
Yep. And, again, 120 supply ahead right now. A huge drop at the 4th base, but this is kind of like a sort of attempted base trade situation here.
Sure.
And I don't think that DarkHydra is really going to be able to do a whole lot with this. He's sending the infestors up there to do a lot of fungal growth. That's going to at least use up a lot of medevac energy.
Yeah, definitely. And he just needs a delay right now. I mean, because there's literally no economy for DarkHydra whatsoever. Yeah, the Broodlords are going to take a while to get over there, but they will eventually get over there. So,
well, he's losing a lot of infestors here. Another fungal growth. Queen getting in on the action as well. Tank's not sieged up or anything like that. Nice pickup to save some Marines. He's really kind of making the most of this last army, but it's just not going to be enough. I mean, still 100 supply ahead for a Zerg player right now. Yeah, 100 supply, you are correct. It looks like a few Corruptors are going to fly back, and all they need to do is pick off a medevac here or there. Again, this is a good job by DarkHydra to try to make the most of his army, as you mentioned, but it's really just fighting way too uphill of a battle at the moment. Yep, that's right. A couple Corruptors being made just to make sure that no buildings escape here. This game has been over for a while now, I guess. I hate to sound like too down on DarkHydra here, but the game's over, man. I mean,
give credit where credit's due. Delphi, yeah, he's really good. I respect DarkHydra, for really trying to make a game out of it. And you do see players like Slayer's Boxer who really don't tend to quit until the game is 100% over. But
sure.
But it's over right now. It is. It's over. And there's the Broodlords. That's what we're looking for. GG, well played. Delphi takes the game, and he puts aTn up 3-1 over Acer at the moment.
Team 경기장
All right, guys, so here we go now. Game number 5 between Alternate Attacks and Team Acer. Alternate Attacks, their representative is our Pink Zerg at the 9 o'clock position. On Terminus, that is Delphi. He has taken 2 games in a row now from his opponents from Team Acer. Their representative over here at the 3 o'clock position is Osho. Yep. Okay, so there it is. Was
the switch, yeah.
Okay, I was making sure that I wasn't insane.
Well, we did have DarkHydra just a moment ago. That's true.
All right, so they are going to talk back and forth, but I'm glad that I wasn't entirely insane. The insanity check passed.
That's good.
Okay.
Looks like a pylon on the low ground for Osho, so he's going to try a bit of a Forge expand on this map. We'll have to see if his Protoss skills can match his Zerg skills. The nice thing in playing a mirror matchup or playing a matchup against a race that you used to play is that you have a very good sense of timings and things like that. You see that in players like Moro, who used to play Terran, then he played Zerg, now he plays TVZ. He knows Zerg inside and out, so he can exploit that when he plays Terran. So we'll have to see if Osho can exploit those timings as a Protoss player against Zerg as well.
And, it's kind of the funny point that I was wondering about there as well. As Osho mentioned that he says that he can go from winning against the best Zerg players in the world in TVZ to losing to some random Masters player as well. So that is part of the reason, saying that he was bored with Protoss as well. But nonetheless, here we go, guys. And it looks like we're going to see a Forge Fast expand out of Osho at the front of the natural here. That is totally standard, especially on this version, the newer version of Terminus. You close off this attack path, and you've basically won yourself 3 safe bases. Yeah, it's a little bit narrower now. The choke point of the natural used to be quite a bit wider, and it was a big challenge for Protoss players to try to do any sort of Forge expand on this map. So agreed. They did narrow it when they added the rocks to the 3rd and took away the ramp by the 3rd and just made a wall there as well. And Protoss players have really appreciated that. It's kind of nice. And there's a Manor Pylon coming down now for Osho as he wants to block that hatch. And again, you're talking about sense of timings. It's not just in the big things in terms of attacks and stuff like that. It's also these small things like this. If he gets a feel coming in here, knowing that his opponent didn't take a super fast expansion. Oh, okay, that's bold. Really going all out. Okay, so that's bold. But anyway, you know exactly when to drop down those blocks. It's a bit expensive to put down that gateway as well. That's going to slow down his Nexus quite a bit here. If you think about it,
you look at his minerals, it's only at like 200 right now. If he cancels this gateway, the hatchery and the Nexus are still going to go down at about the same time.
Sure.
So, you know, we'll see. I mean, I'm not a big fan of doing like the Cyber Core or the gateway after the pylon. I think the pylon is fine. Starts his Nexus here, and if you look, yeah, the hatchery is going to start not much later than the Nexus. So he really ended up slowing himself down almost to the level that the hatchery came up.
Sure.
So that kind of illustrates the point I'm trying to make, which is I'm not so sure about the Cyber Core gateway after the pylon in that block off. I think the pylon's enough.
It does buy a very safe expansion, though, at the very least. Yes, you do set yourself behind, but you ensure that your photon cannon will be up, although that was kind of a given on this map, especially given how long the walk distance is. But here we are now. That being said, it looks like we're going to have that 100 gas here in just a bit for Delphi, as he will be able to put up his Zergling speed. Second photon cannon being thrown in, and this is a nice, pretty deep wall, as a matter of fact. Just one structure here, and he would have a, buildings too deep everywhere.
Well, you can tell that Osho hasn't been playing as much Protoss as, obviously someone who only plays Protoss, like OGSMC or something, for an example. Just because normally a lot of players can get away without having that second cannon early on. In fact, I think that's a bit of an unnecessary cannon there. You can tell he feels a little bit unsure about the matchup already, which is pretty common for anyone who's kind of newly switched over like that.
Sure.
It's okay. I mean, it's not a huge kind of waste of minerals, I guess I'll say. It does keep you safer, but it does, again, slow things down a little bit more.
Right.
So in terms of who's ahead at this point, if Acer Osho had been able to deny the hatchery for a little bit longer using the probe and a pylon and get his Nexus up earlier, he'd have the advantage. But where everything's been a little bit slower, they're still on about the same footing now, despite the efforts of our Protoss player.
All right, and Delphi accidentally had his drones rally to the hatchery. It appeared there for a little while.
Yeah, that happens.
And someone's running underneath us.
Nope, it's running next to us. It's one of those League of Legends guys.
Oh, those crazy League of Legends guys. I hope you guys actually, if you're League of Legends fans, we'll give them a quick shout out as well. We've added a new team to the IPL that actually resides in-house that is doing League of Legends content. So if you enjoy that, then please do make sure you check out all their stuff. You can find more details at IGN.com/IPL.
All right, he really wants to kill that Zealot, I guess.
Yeah, because that Zealot tucked itself into a very, very effective place, and it already has 3 kills. Will it get a 4th? Got pretty close, but no.
Not quite, yep. So Stargate plan the way for Osho. He's going to go ahead and make a Void Ray, try to go after that hatchery here. I've got a feeling Delphi's going to be pretty well prepared for it. In fact, going for a very, very fast lair is our Zerg player. We'll have to see what he decides to use that for. Is he up to 4 gas? He's up to 3 gas right now.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll have to see what he has in mind for that. Starship weapons as well for Osho. Interesting play.
Wow.
Okay. Did he get Warp Gate research? I didn't see.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, he's getting it, but he's not. No,
he hasn't. I was waiting. I was wondering. I was like, I'm waiting for the second Stargate. But no, not just a second Stargate, but a third. At the same time, we're going to have fast Nidus play out of Delphi.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, Delphi going for the Nidus play. I think he's kind of trying to exploit the fact that his opponent is a little bit new to Protoss here. This is kind of one of those skill check plays that you'll see some players do against each other. It's going to be Nidus and Hydralisk. I think that's going to be something that works pretty well against a solid, like, big 3 Stargate airplay that Osho is doing. As long as Delphi doesn't get into a situation where his Hydras are getting picked off like 1 by 1 as they come out of the hatcheries or whatever, I think Osho's in a bit of trouble here, honestly.
The units get picked off 1 by 1. So yeah, triple Stargate. This is actually going to be madness here in a second. We do